A woman in a patriarchal society seems to be a difficult person by many when she stands for herself. But is it worth being suppressing oneself and being difficult on own self to please others? A great woman, one who is unapologetically herself, is often perceived as difficult by others, especially in a patriarchal society that thrives on conformity and subservience. She doesn't bend to the will of others. Instead, she stands tall in her truth, her boundaries, her desires, and her worth. This independence can make her seem like a challenge. A woman who questions the status quo, who refuses to be silenced, is often labeled as difficult, stubborn, or too much. But in reality, her strength is not the problem. The problem lies in a society that has been conditioned to expect women to be small, quiet, and accommodating. On the other hand, a woman, one who constantly compromises herself to fit into the narrow boxes others have designed for her, ends up being difficult for herself. She suppresses her true needs, desires, and dreams, not because she is incapable, but because she has been conditioned to believe that pleasing others is more important than honoring herself. She is burdened by the weight of expectations, shrinking her potential just to make others comfortable. In a patriarchal society, women are often praised for being easy, for being agreeable, and for putting others' needs above their own. But is this self-sacrifice truly worth it? What does a woman gain by making herself small to satisfy the whims of others? She may win temporary approval, but at the cost of her happiness, her ambitions, and her peace. Take, for example, a woman in a workplace dominated by men. If she speaks up, challenges unfair practices, or asserts herself as an equal, she is seen as difficult or disruptive. But if she remains silent, takes on more than her share of the load, and avoids conflict, she may be seen as pleasant and easy to work with. In the first scenario, she is true to herself, though she may face backlash. In the second, she is betraying her worth, causing internal turmoil, just to avoid being labeled as problematic. In both cases, she faces difficulty, but one of these paths offers her dignity and empowerment, while the other only deepens her self-resentment. Another example can be seen in personal relationships. A woman who communicates her needs and sets firm boundaries may be viewed as demanding. People may say, "She's so hard to deal with," but in truth, she is simply protecting her peace and ensuring she is treated with respect. Contrast that with a woman who swallows her feelings to keep the peace. She is constantly accommodating, avoiding conflict, and always bending to make others happy. But inside, she is difficult on herself, resentful, unfulfilled, and often emotionally drained. The question then becomes, is it worth being difficult on oneself just to please others? The answer is clear, no. Suppressing who you are for the comfort of others is a slow form of self-destruction. It denies a woman her fullness, her strength, and her right to live authentically. In the end, being difficult for others in a world that expects you to be small is far more noble than being difficult for yourself. True greatness comes from refusing to shrink for anyone's convenience, from standing tall in your power, even if it makes others uncomfortable. It is this difficulty that drives change, that reshapes oppressive norms, and that allows women to live freely and fully.